Good evening, everyone. We carry tomorrow in our bones. I'm here today to speak about the future, but to do that, I need to speak of the past. And it is a past built on bloodshed, oppression, and suffering. I will be speaking about racism, human trafficking, and systemic abuse. Please let this be your trigger warning. I want to take you on a journey. Imagine for a moment the following. You awaken in darkness below deck to the swaying of the ship, the smell of brackish water, and human waste. The sound of the waves, the creaking of wood, and the cries of sorrow and anguish remind you of where you are. A large Portuguese slavers vessel bound from the shores of West Africa to Brazil. A large, rusty iron shackle eats into your flesh, clinking with every breath you take. And then suddenly a boot slams into your leg. The overseer is here, barking orders at you in a language you don't understand, but you understand his gesture. Check on the man next to you. As you touch the body, it is rigid and cold as ice. And then you smell death. Within the hour, the body is taken away and thrown overboard, and your journey continues. Many more of you would not live to see the shores of your destination. And those who would make it would be sold to the highest bidder to work in the sugarcane fields, coffee plantations, or in the mines of the interior of Brazil. Where at night, you would huddle together in the senzalas, among many others, in the slave huts. No home, no common language, no freedom. Yet there is something unbreakable you do share, the will to survive. The system of slavery in Brazil stripped millions of Africans of their home, possessions, and self-determination. From this horror came not only misery, but also survival, identity, and culture. Imagine the resilience and strength needed to transform trauma and oppression into expression and meaning. What kind of alchemy transmutes pain into beauty? Into a culture so vibrant that even to this day it moves Brazil. In the slangs, in market stalls, in small kitchens, in literature, arts, dance, language, and music. In the color of festivals and the rhythm of drums. Even 500 years later, Brazil today is a country that's deeply embedded with African heritage. It still bears the wounds of slavery. But more than that, it is a culture that pulses with axé, a Yoruba word for life force, color, and joy. Why? Because the greatest act of rebellion in a world built to break you was and still is the relentless pursuit of joy, the insistence on self-expression, and the creation of meaning, even in adversity. And one of these expressions you saw today, Capoeira, a dance, a fight, a joyful game. Yeah, thank you. And a ritual. Every song, a vessel of memory. Every rhythm, defying dehumanization. And every act carrying meaning. Meaning that kept people alive during the darkest of times. I myself have not tasted the oppression that birthed this resilience. Quite to the contrary. I have studied and taught capoeira and leadership across 4 continents. From favelas in Brazil to US colleges, all the way to the Thai royal palace. And it was there, in the cradle of unimaginable wealth, on a humid Bangkok afternoon, when I saw a prince learn the same movements that were once forbidden to slaves. And as I saw his face light up with the same joy that I saw in the smiles of kids in the slums of Rio de Janeiro, it struck me. How is it that people create the most amazingly rich cultures from hardship, uncertainty, and oppression, and not with material wealth, but with the only thing their body holds? And how do we make sure we do not just mindlessly consume this wealth of knowledge, appropriating cultural intelligence and ancestral wisdom? How do we do justice to all the suffering that happened so that these values would emerge? And as I saw this royal capoeira player, a thought formed into my head that today is my conviction. Our responsibility grows with our privilege. And so today I'm not here to speak for those who were oppressed, nor to turn their pain into metaphor. I am telling you all this because the very real history of slavery in Brazil today shapes the rich cultural tapestry of knowledge I am fortunate and privileged enough to draw from. And yes, I am very aware of speaking from this point of privilege and the risks involved. We may co-opt culture and strip it of its significance. We may romanticize or deny historical truths. Or we can engage honestly and critically, learn and dive deep, and then do our part in giving back, build bridges so others can join the same movements. Because culture can never be owned. You can only partake in it. And so today we live in a VUCA world, a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Environmental crises and political extremism loom. Social and economic systems are just that one crack away from collapse. The world is on fire. And as a father of two myself, I admit that is scary. So as individuals and as a society, we need to adapt to that. But change, as always, is slow and possibly misguided. Remote work, AI, virtual reality companionship, linking our brains into digital ecosystems, even fleeing the Earth towards Mars, seem like fantastic ideas, sure, until you look at what lies underneath. We call it progress, but what we are building are quick fixes to keep flawed systems running just that little bit longer. We chase election cycles and profit margins. We put competition over purpose and ethics. And so we compete, yes, but we struggle to connect. I believe we have mistaken acceleration for direction. And so we're running and running and running, but for what? Another positive quarterly revenue report? Here's the thing. In Capoeira, there are no winners, no heroes, only relationship. A game between Capoeira players can last a lifetime. And I believe culture and future work in the same way. There are no winners, no end game, no last round. We play until one day we can't play anymore, and then others continue. So what's in it for us? There is no big neon sign. Congratulations, you have completed life. You won at future. Here's your trophy. Our finite bodies, but we are embedded in something larger, potentially near infinite human culture. So what if we started acting like it and started shaping culture for a century we will never see, so that one day they can look back and say, this is where the shift began. Because we carry in our bodies not only our personal history, but the genetic and cultural history of our ancestors. And in the same way, what we are today, our choices, they go on to shape those who come after. In this way, what we are today is already being written into our children and grandchildren, whether we like that or not. This idea is not new, though. In numerous West African cultures, there is a symbol called Sankofa, and you can see it here. It means go back to pick up what you need in order to move forward. It implies a respectful dialogue with the past, not for nostalgia's sake, but in order to honor the roots and learn from the past so we can improve tomorrow. Similarly, in Capoeira, we speak of ancestralidade, ancestrality. We learn from those who come before us, and once they pass away, in some way they remain in the stories and memories our bodies hold, and in the shared legacy of the world they helped shape. I believe every body is an archive of dignity, memory, and possibility. We carry tomorrow in our bones. The future lives inside us long before it ever meets the world. So what are these ominous future skills, the abilities that will carry us forward from one era into the next? The future will not be built by new tools alone, but by old truths we've forgotten to practice. While science gives us an ever more detailed understanding about the physical world, and AI lightens our mental workload, only humans are capable of conscious play and the creation of meaning and innovation. And if we look at how culture was developed throughout the history of Brazil, we cannot help but acknowledge the immense resilience involved. The ability to not just survive crises, but to come back stronger, create meaning and adapt, and then turn pain into power. Imagine being born enslaved and dying enslaved and still dreaming of freedom for those who will never even know your name. Even in the face of greatest uncertainty, resilience was always fueled by hope. So if anything, let us start today by cultivating resilience through hope, first for us, and then through our actions for those who come after. And to do that, in order to protect those who we might never meet in person, we need to build community. Where extremism isolates, community heals. And a lasting culture is always better constructed in dialogue and cooperation, and not blind opposition and competition. In shared spaces, in shared emotions, in mutually constructed ideals and goals and identities. We all might have different outlooks at times, but we all want human beings to thrive, be happy, and be fulfilled. And so to confront uncertainty and still remain joyful in capoeira as in life, we need to be skilled at improvisation. In a world where change is everywhere and unpredictable, more than ever, we all need to be able to navigate complexities with ease and grace, competence and elegance, and a healthy curiosity about different ways of living and approaching problems. After all, we only really start understanding our own culture once we step outside of it. Improvisation is our ability and our trust to meet the unknown dance with grace, even if we have to invent the steps or an extra leg to stand on when life shakes the ground beneath our feet. And our final lesson comes in the form of consciousness about the possibilities our bodies hold far beyond any material wealth. Embodiment understands the body as a resource, a carrier of knowledge, history, and energy. Our bodies are not machines. They are the first ecosystems we are called to protect. In a complex world, that means finding back to simple things. Safety, nourishment, our body in tune with its nature, and constant lifelong learning. And since us humans are always part of the dichotomy of culture and nature, we need to understand that for culture to thrive, it needs to respect the nature it mirrors. Culture can only endure if nature does. These are not soft skills. These are survival skills in a VUCA world. And Capoeira exemplifies these skills in a very practical way. To dance with the uncertainties of life happily, joyfully, resiliently, skillfully. When everything is stripped away from us, all that is left is what we embody. And once this body is gone, what's left is what we did with it, the world we all helped shape. In a world where an infinite library of information is at your fingertips, where you can wake up in one country and go to sleep thousands of miles away, technology can bring us closer together, or it can isolate us. In a world where AI grows more powerful and your personal data is being bought and sold on the internet, I believe we need to come back to a different network. One that exchanges energy in hugs, in acts of kindness, and by sharing the same space, at least for a while. And as a global species, our future does not live in data files or laptops, but in the games we play, the stories we tell, the people we touch, and the joy we create. So here's my invitation to you. Let's learn to not just mindlessly consume culture, reduce it to a talking point or an entertainment commodity in a world that offers us short-term pleasures. Instead, let's carry it forward consciously by how we shape, how we create, how we lead. And then shape ideas that will outlast us on the path to an infinite future. And let's do so with the tools that our kind has always had at its disposal. Relentless optimism, creativity in the arts, compassion in community, and childlike joy in playing the games of life. We carry tomorrow in our bones. And this tomorrow is built every day and in every interaction, whether we do so consciously or not. Every gesture, every kindness already goes on to shape the world that will remember us. We already have everything we need in order to construct the future. In the words of famous Brazilian indigenous philosopher Ailton Krenak, o futuro é ancestral. The future is ancestral. And perhaps the future we dream of today has been dreaming of us all along. Thank you very much.